It's
All right.
it's low sweet
Hello,
time.
everyone. Hello, hello, hello. We'll let people sort of wander in. While they do, right before we started, I asked Hugh because this was a trivia question at like a bar trivia thing I did a little while back. The question is, it was something like which sport has the most films in the like top 250 or 500, whatever the number was, on IMDb? Like, which sport has the most movies about it that are the most highly regarded? And Hugh has not done very
I've
well at
not done
guessing
very
it
well
yet.
at guessing. I tried baseball. I figured, because Americans and baseball, but it is not a
Baseball
team
was high.
sport.
Baseball is high on the list. I gave him the clue that it is not a team sport. He also asked if it was in the Olympics. It is in the Summer Olympics. And he has not been able to guess it. If anyone in the chat can guess it before Hugh does, then points to you. Yep, someone already guessed it. It's boxing.
Oh. Oh, damn, I wasn't even looking. Damn, I was gonna try. That I should have known that. Fuck.
You
Yeah.
had at
I had a
least a solid
lot
5 minutes, and
I
you
had
did
a, I had
not
a
guess
lot of
it.
time to guess that. I really should have. I really should have guessed that one. Yeah, that obviously it's boxing. Obviously, of
Yeah,
course, because some of the best movies of all time are boxing movies.
yeah, yeah, boxing. That's true. Hello in the chat. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday. Many USA victories to celebrate recently, but we're going to focus especially on hockey today. We are here celebrating, among other things, the Team USA hockey victory over those commie Canucks up there in Canada in the gold medal game last Sunday, which feels like it was more than a week ago because so much has happened since. But man, was it great! It
It
was
has
so
been a great
great.
week to be American, hasn't it?
It really has. Uh, yes, hopefully chat will appear on screen. Sometimes there's a little bit of delay on that.
It
Up
has
as soon as
begun. They've
as soon as I
asked,
say it.
and it has been done. Congratulations. You've lived your lives 1/4 mile at a time.
Yes, true
USA,
patriots all.
USA, true patriots in the chat. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the gold medal hockey game, which was excellent and very, very fun to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, it certainly helps that we won. Um, but man, that victory was so sweet that we were too busy celebrating to actually stream last week. So here we are, a week later, but we haven't forgotten, and I hope neither have you. And we're going to talk about a relevant movie, a very, very relevant movie, and that is Miracle, starring Kurt. I almost said Kirk Douglas, Kurt Russell. He would have been pretty
Don't you
old at
mean
that
Mel
point.
Gibson? Everybody's in the chat saying the Mel Gibson hockey movie.
Is there a
I don't
reference
I
I'm
do
missing?
not understand the reference either, but it's funny to me that
Can you be on screen today? Oh yeah, we already answered that. Yes, you can. You can be on screen today. Miracle on Ice 2.0 with Leafs and Iran getting flonged in 1 week. Someone should check Reagan's grave because I'm sure he's got a raging hard on. Yeah, it's been a good week to be an American patriot. Here we are. What a time to be alive. So yeah, but we'll get into that in a bit. We got a few things in the chat to respond to. Hello, all. What movies has everyone watched lately? I just watched City on Fire for the first time. Tarantino straight rips the ending of Reservoir Dogs from this movie. City on Fire. I have not seen that one.
Oh
Have
yeah,
you?
no, I don't know that one. I'm not familiar.
Quentin Tarantino sure does love to borrow and repurpose. That's like one of his favorite things to do in the world. Well, here I am Google image searching city on fire, and there's just a bunch of images
Of
of cities on
Minneapolis.
fire. Yeah, I don't know what I expected, but here we are. Rag said Mel Gibson was in The Thing, and now we reverse the
Ah,
actors forget. Aha, I see. I get the joke now. Thank you very much for including me on it. It's nice to be included. We're all about
yes.
inclusion here. It's very
Inclusion,
important to us.
diversity is our strength here at this
Why
stream.
is my icon still? Hold on. Whoop. Hopefully
There.
that
Oh,
fixes it.
that he is back, and
I changed I
yes,
changed my icon. It just hasn't changed for Hugh yet.
very quick
Anyway,
costume change.
yeah. What did you guys think of the NAACP giving Kugler and Lindo a standing ovation as if they survived an assassination attempt or something? Okay. Let me just say right off the bat that the whole um BAFTA
The
Tourette's
BAFTA Randy
incident,
Marsh incident.
and the response to it has been one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I have been having the time of my life making jokes about it, looking at other people's jokes about it. It's just been an absolute treat. I'm so happy that happened. It's been incredible. Their their hysterical whining overreaction to it is insane to watch. And it's been very fun to make fun of them for it and coming out like you said, like they survived an assassination attempt or something, and doing like everything they can to like really throw this guy under the bus for something he literally can't control. And they know that ostensibly, but they're not acting like it. They're acting like he secretly did it on purpose. It's just baffling and strange, and it makes them look really bad, and that's a good thing. I've been having a blast with this whole situation. I think it's hysterical. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. It's very funny.
Meanwhile,
It's
I've been
very,
having a
very,
great
very
week,
funny.
just imbibing plenty of hockey content in preparation for this stream. I don't get to talk about hockey enough, and I am very excited to do this today, since the last couple days I've been celebrating a birthday weekend, and Jamie kindly allowed me to bring Miracle in on this one. One of my favorite hockey
Wait, when's
movies.
your birthday again?
The 27th.
Oh, it already happened. Happy
Yeah,
birthday. I didn't tell you happy birthday because
that's
I'm a
okay.
bad friend.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
Happy birthday, Hugh.
thanks, buddy. It's
Yeah, we're gonna
cool.
talk about hockey because Hugh's a hockey
I'm
guy.
a big hockey guy, so I'm sure there are quite a few of you who remember me freaking out briefly in one of our streams when Ovechkin broke Gretzky's all-time goals record. He is, by the way, currently, after last night, the Caps got absolutely shellacked by the Canadians, but Ovi scored twice, which puts him, I think, like 2 goals behind 1,000 all-time combined, which literally only
My-
one other person, it's Gretzky, who's ever done that in, like, playoffs or playoffs and regular season. Gretzky has 1,016. So he's two behind 1,000, which is just incredible. More records to break day in and day out for him. I'm sad he couldn't participate in the Olympics because Putin is up to some shit. But it is what it is. Given the last few times the Russians were in the best on best Olympics, I really wouldn't have been all that like I wouldn't have been all that optimistic about their chances, because they have underperformed when best on it like when best on best teams lately have played each other. Not the case for the time period that Miracle is set in.
no.
Yeah. So yeah, this is one of my favorite movies ever. It's definitely my favorite hockey movie of all time. Um, is it
Yeah, I
the
was
best
gonna.
hockey movie of all time?
Well,
That's a great
that's a
question.
good question because I think this is the only hockey movie I've ever seen. No, 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 no. I've seen the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah,
I,
no,
I
okay,
like.
Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks is definitely a contender.
Okay, what else? What are the other contenders?
Well, there's the Paul Newman Slapshot movie. That
I've
one,
heard good things about that.
yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's a really good movie. There's Goon, which has taken on a new meaning lately, but that's got I can't remember. I can never remember the actor's name. It's Stifler
Uh,
from American
I know.
Pie.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he plays in that movie. He plays a
A
basically
gooner.
like yeah, gooner. He plays a gooner who becomes a hockey star. Um,
It's an inspirational tale. uh, so
yeah,
yeah, so what's the strongest competition for best hockey movie of all time?
it's got to be either Slapshot or the Mighty Ducks. That like maybe D2, Mighty Ducks
John
2.
William Scott, that's his name. Thank you.
Yeah. It's got to be those two. Goon is fun. It's an enjoyable movie. I think Wyatt Russell was actually in Goon at one point.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he did play
Oh,
hockey, by the way. Wyatt Russell
someone
played goalie.
mentioned Someone mentioned this. They just said South Park episode. Now, I don't know if they're referencing the Tourette's episode of South Park or the hockey episode of South Park, which is also very, very good. I'm assuming you've seen that,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Where he
Let
coaches
them
Pee Wee
play the
hockey.
let them play the Red Wings.
uh, really funny. Anyway, yeah, so Miracle is a movie that came out in 2004, a good 24 years after the event itself. It stars Kurt Russell and a lady who I recognize, but I don't actually know the name of.
Isn't that Patricia Clarkson?
Yeah, that would be it. Yep, that's her name. Other than that, it's some of these guys look familiar, but I could not place
I'm
them.
pretty sure the actor who plays the goalie, Jim Craig, was in Law and Order for a while.
Okay. As a
Or
regular, not just like a random.
yeah, he was like one of the. I feel like he was, or no, CSI. He was in a CSI
Okay.
series.
Oh, right. And of course, I'm forgetting. I don't know his name, but he's that guy to me. His name is Noah Emmerich. He's also in The Truman Show. His best friend in The Truman Show. Remember that? He's the assistant coach.
Oh
Plays
yes, yes.
Craig Patrick in this movie. He's also in The Truman Show. He's a really good
He was in
actor. I
The
like him a lot.
Americans too. I like him in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Miracle, it's a sports drama from the early 2000s. It is exactly like every sports drama, inspirational sports drama from the 2000s, except that it's probably one of the best ones. It has a lot of things about it that are a little like cheesy, but it works anyway. That's
Yeah.
kind of how I feel about it. There's a lot of cheese in this movie. There's a lot of music that's being very insistent about how you're meant to feel.
Oh fuck yeah, it is. It's perfect like classic Disney, like mid 2000s
Yes.
Disney.
Yeah, mid 2000s like Disney original live action movie, the kind that they don't really make as much anymore. Or if they do, they just dump them onto Disney Plus and no one ever talks about them. But yeah, they used to make a lot of these kind of movies, and this is a pretty good one. It has that sort of cheesy family inspirational drama that really hits you over the head with how you're supposed to feel about things. But the story itself is just so fucking good, pardon my language, that it really it really helps. It really helps.
Yeah.
This is a really fun movie. At first, I was a little it got off to a little bit of a slow start, but by
Are
the
you,
end, I was in it,
are you
man.
talking about the long opening
Oh,
montage?
so long,
Yeah.
so
It's
long,
a
and
lot longer than I remember. And I remember as a kid being like, "Okay, yeah, this is great. It's really helping me, as a youngin who was not there when this happened, kind of understand the absolute shit kicking that America got through the 1970s, right? Like it is getting me in that atmosphere, but as I go back to watch it, I'm like, okay, we can
we
probably
could cut
speed
this
this up a
down.
little bit. I'm not
It's
so sure how relevant it is to know that Elvis died. Like
Yeah,
I think we're okay.
that's the thing it does. It what it could be at its best if it was a bit punchier and like a little faster, a little shorter that is. It could just bring up what is relevant for the context of the movie. Instead, it does like, oh, remember all these things that were happening in that time period? It's like, was Elvis's death really relevant? No, but it was a thing that happened. Remember it? It's very boomer coded.
It's a
This
lot of
intro.
like, oh man, isn't don't you remember how devastated you were when you found out about this? Because a lot of it is just like it's really making sure that it hammers home the bad news, really, right? Because like
Yes.
that's the mood it's trying to set.
Yeah, it's
Um,
trying to be like America is has been knocked down, but we're gonna get back up. You
yeah,
know.
this and that was the narrative surrounding this game once it actually happened, right? That definitely helped spur that crowd, that incredible crowd. I don't know if you've ever watched the highlights or this game in full, but you can find it. I'm pretty sure on YouTube, and it's totally worth watching. It's so
I
it's
might honestly.
so
I
electric.
Years ago when I was a youngin, I watched. There's a documentary on it. Um, I think it was made in 1981 or something like that. I saw that. No. That's like a TV drama. There was some sort of documentary thing I saw when I was a kid, but I'd be down to rewatch the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
it's a lot of fun.
I also recently watched. It was so good. I watched it twice. The 30 for 30 on this game called Of Miracles and Men. It's part of the second season. So if you want to go check that out, you should, because it is this game from the perspective of the Soviet players, and they interview quite a few of them, and you can definitely tell how bad this one still stings. At one point, so the Russian on screen right now is Boris Mikhailov, the center and the captain, the longtime captain of the Soviet team at this point. And they ask him in the interview, they're like, "Did you watch the movie Miracle, the American movie about when they beat you?" And his instant response is, "No, absolutely not. I'll go watch a good movie where I win. Why would I watch this? Why would I do that to myself?"
I mean, I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
I
I
get it.
wouldn't. Yeah,
No.
yeah, and it
Why
like
would you?
this game ended in some serious tragedy for the Russian team. Honestly, it kind of broke.
Good.
Yeah, well,
Good.
yeah, it kind of yes, I mean one of really like when you get their perspective, it's heartbreaking from their side as well, because I mean several of them had only really managed to escape the what the horrors of Soviet Russia were like because they were
Being
good at
good at
playing
hockey.
hockey,
Yeah.
and there was just so little room for error that this one time they lost a game, like a good portion of the veterans just immediately got let go, just immediately dropped
Wow.
from the squad.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah, well, and then oh god, and then one of the
I mean,
best
that's
ones.
kind of reflected a little bit in the movie, in the game, where they like they score 2 goals on their goalie and they pull him from the game. It's only
Yeah,
tied 2-2, but they pull their like best goalie for
yeah.
making those mistakes. It's pretty rough.
Well, and it's like the really the second goal in the first period. That's not. I mean, he remembers it because he gives an interview about it in the documentary, and he remembers it so vividly. And he's just like, I just it was. I had no idea that he was going to be able to do that. I knew he wasn't going to wind up and take a slap shot. There wasn't enough time. There were only 2 seconds on the clock, and I knew he wasn't a Swede who was going to try to outplay me. So I came out to challenge him, but he faked me, and I just like he remembers the detail, and then like the fact that the coach was so pissed at him for this. It's like that's just a regular mistake from a goalie, man. Like that's so
I mean,
normal.
how it's presented in the movie is that they're just so used to dominating that, like, any mistake at all, they just immediately start pulling their best players to like punish them for it. Like,
Yeah,
just because they're like this is unheard of for them, which is really interesting because then there's this great little moment where I don't want to keep calling him Kurt Russell the whole time. What's his character's name? Herb
Herb
Brooks.
Brooks.
Herb is like, he's like, you see that? They just pulled their best goalie.
They just
You
pulled
know,
the
as like
best goaltender, and they put the best goalie in the world on the bench.
yeah, and it's like that's the effect you're having on them. Keep it up, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And that really lights a fire under them too. So this is like just a really solid sports movie. I think everything that kind of surrounds the actual sport and strategy and the sort of I think what is most interesting about this movie to me is the sort of exploration of what makes a good coach. You know,
Yes.
that's one of the it's one of those things. Have you ever seen Coach Carter?
Yeah. 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 That's a great movie.
Coach Carter is not as good of a movie, but Samuel L. Jackson as Coach Carter is really, really good. There's a lot of stuff in that movie about like the drama outside of basketball itself that isn't as interesting. It's kind of cheesy Disney on the nose type stuff, but the coaching stuff and the strategy is really, really interesting. And it's kind of funny. Coach Carter comes like what 10 years after this movie, something like that.
Yeah.
But in real life, he had the exact same strategy that Herb Brooks does, where he's just like, we're gonna run. That's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna
You're going to be
run.
the
We're gonna
best
be the
conditioned.
yes, exactly. And Coach Carter, I think they like the first few weeks of the season, they don't touch the basketball at all. They just run. It's the same sort of thing. It's like, well, they're better. They're more talented than us, but we're going to be the most in shape. We're going to be the best conditioned, and we're going to skate with them the whole time, which no one is able to do. And that'll be our opportunity. That's going to be that sort of discipline is going to be what gives us an edge. So like all that sort of stuff, that strategy, how he handles morale with his players, and like how he lights a fire under their asses. There's that really great speech before the final game. That's a great
Yeah.
moment. That's an all-time sports movie moment.
Well,
There's,
so have you ever been to a Capitals game?
Yes, but a long, long time ago.
So there's a video montage that
Wait,
they
Coach Carter
play.
was 2005? That's funny. I didn't know it was like, yeah, it
Oh,
was a year after this.
oh, okay, wow, yeah,
Okay,
really,
so they were clearly
they're
inspired by the way.
contemporary, yeah,
That's so
contemporaries. That's
funny.
fucking sick. Yeah. No, so the Capitals have a video montage that they play towards the end of the third period, usually when either when the team like the team that runs the arena perceives that the energy needs a boost, or when they want to just fire the crowd up for the last, for the home stretch. And it always includes clips from this movie, this speech. Like
Sprinkle
it opens with that, great moments are born from great opportunity, you know. And
And
this
that's
is
what you
your
have
time.
here tonight.
That's what you have here tonight. This is your time. Go out there
Yeah.
and take it. That all of that. So a couple things too about the what you just said. So there's a really great podcast episode for Julian Edelman, for all you other Patriots fans out there. One of the members of the team that the Patriots team that absolutely fucking dominated for from 2014 to 2020 in the NFL. He's talking with Jim Craig, the goalie from the Miracle team, and Jim Craig frequently made appearances at the Patriots practice because Bill Belichick wanted to, he's Jim Craig's from Boston. He wanted the guys on the Patriots team to sort of understand what sports meant to that community. But also Jim Craig saw a lot of Herb Brooks and Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick famously used to make the Patriots. There's a big hill behind the practice stadium. And he used to make them run up and down it multiple times after every practice. So
Yeah.
even after this, to make sure that they had more legs than any other team that they would play, to keep that conditioning up. And the other thing about that interview is they asked Jim Craig, like, how accurate is that speech, right? Is it moviefied? How close is it? Because Herb Brooks didn't write his speeches down. He didn't give a lot of speeches usually. He just kind of had that gift that great coaches have, to just sort of be able to fire you up, improv right on the spot. And Jim Craig was like, they took like maybe a little bit of creative liberty to really hype it up, but honestly, it's so close that I can't even remember what the differences are.
Yeah.
It's so close to what he actually said, and you can just kind of it gets you fired up when you're watching it. It's
Oh
a
yeah,
great
man.
speech.
I was so into it at that point. It's a great speech, and it's really interesting because it is so relevant to the gold medal game that just happened. Because obviously not as extreme in many regards, but the Canadians did have the better, like, more talented team overall.
Absolutely.
And so in the same sort of way that he opens his speech by saying, like, if we played 10 games, they might win 9 of them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, all we need is one, and like, tonight, like, you're the greatest hockey team in the world. That speech is incredible. It's
Yeah.
excellent. Kurt Russell is great in this movie. I think my favorite moment. See, one of the things that's so interesting about Kurt Russell in this movie is that he's playing someone who's very, very emotionally reserved, which he doesn't usually do as much. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's just so,
Well,
like, I mean, kind of, but like in this in particular, he's got that very Midwestern, like, very Midwesterner of German descent, kind of, like, doesn't show a lot of emotion and keeps it all kind of bottled in. But then there's that really, really great moment after they win where he kind of goes off into the like hallway by himself,
yeah.
and he like finally lets it out a bit. Oh, that's so good, man. That's the
Yeah.
best moment in the movie for me. It's so good.
When he goes to his wife and he just kind of puts his hands up to shrug after they've won, he's like, huh? Yeah. Yeah, and then he goes off into the thing and like celebrates, gives himself a little fist pump, a little double fist
Yeah.
pump. It's so
Yeah.
great.
It's so great.
The again whistle
and
scene.
by emotionally reserved, because obviously he does play some characters that are like stoic, but it's in this, it's just like he like, at one point I remember watching it going like, oh, is he gonna smile here? Is he like finally going to smile? And it's like, nope, but you get a little smirk. You get a little smirk, and then he doesn't smile until the very end. It's kind of interesting. But it was kind of a different role for him. I found it pretty easy to like for him to just disappear into the character, which is
Yeah.
tough for someone that famous.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it's really so yeah. So there's the strategy in terms of like coaching strategy and what he does to fire them up, and there's a couple fun things he does to like get under their skin to like light a fire under their ass. But the most interesting thing for me was the like the approach, because what made this team different was like we're not going to get all the most talented players from the NHL.
Yeah.
We're going to put together a coherent team that can function as a team and isn't just a collection of really good players.
So
And that's our own. Yeah.
this is an
Go ahead.
interesting thing to bring up because back at this time, and when this Olympics was going on, the Olympics were not for professional athletes.
Yeah.
So you were like, if you were a professional athlete in the NHL, you weren't allowed to compete in the Olympics. It was something that you're getting paid to be an athlete. We're not allowing you in. It's only for amateurs. Now, this is why. So my one of the things that my dad used to talk to me about this, when I was young all the time, right, was that the Soviet players were all contracted through the army. They were Soviet military club team, right? Now, the reason that they did this is because that way they could preserve the ruse that they were amateur athletes. They could be like, "Oh yeah, Valery Karlamov, he's, an engineer in the Soviet military. He spends most of his time, working on tanks and machines and he plays hockey, he's an amateur hockey player, whatever." None of them did any of that shit. None of them actually worked for the Soviet military. They were training night and day to play hockey like a modern
Professionals.
NHL
Yeah.
professional team. So in some sense, the fact that they were able to dominate as much as they did is a little bit because they were cheating in that way. They were like literally keeping
Skis?
them.
No,
Yeah.
no way. They would never.
No, no, of course not. They were literally like keeping them as they were essentially professional athletes, um, in disguised as amateurs. Now,
Though, to be
to be
fair,
fair to them,
go ahead.
they did their coach, not Tikhonov, who is the one who's shown in the movie, who was the coach at the time of the game, but their original coach, I Tar Tarasov, I can't remember that. I think
Something
I'm saying
like
that
that.
right, something
Close
like that.
enough.
He kind of reinvented hockey. In an incredible, like Herm Brooks, obviously they're not going to show this in the movie, but Herb Brooks actually got a lot of advice on coaching from that guy. He would meet up with him and ask him questions through an interpreter, and Tarasov was more than happy to, tell him all of his theories because he just loved hockey. Yeah, that was his escape. So Tarasov, he did a lot of the same things that Herb Brooks did, right? He kept them training, 11 months out of the year. They were constantly doing cardio and doing off ice training. He had them study ballet to watch how all of the parts, all of the different performers interacted with one another and formed different patterns and used each other's movements. He then,
That's
like, because
so Russian too.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would use anything that he could get from any other art form, he would apply to hockey. Now, at the time, the NHL relied really heavily on like physical play and like the dump and chase style, where like you kind of you'd throw the puck into the your offensive zone, and then you'd kind of come in and try to just like physically dominate the other team. The Russians played a much more modern game where they sort of just it was a modern European game. It was all passing. It was, everybody's moving to where the puck isn't, so that way you can, generate opportunities. You're kind of breaking them down with your crisscrosses and your picks and everything like that. So it's a much different game that at the time was really able to sort of dominate everything that, Canadian hockey was trying to do. The only time that they played each other, really, the NHL All Stars and the Russians, one of the first time they ever played each other was 1972 in the Summit Series, and I think I might have ranted to you about this at one point, but the Canadian version of the Miracle on Ice is this 1972 Summit series, or at least the CBC documentary about it kind of gives that impression. It's an 8 game series, 4 in Canada, 4 in Moscow. The Russians are about to clinch. They've completely wiped the floor with the Canadians the entire time. Basically, they're up, however many games you would need to clinch that victory. The Canadian player Bobby Clark comes over and breaks Valery Karlamov's ankle as he's breaking into the zone. Doesn't even attempt to play the puck. If you go and watch it, it's a classic two-handed tomahawk chop straight to the ankle. And the CBC broadcasting documentary about this celebrates that moment as like the time where they learned how real Canadians play the real game. And I'm just sitting there watching it like, are you fucking kidding me? That is insane to celebrate something like this. That is the only way that your
Dirty
style of
move like
hockey,
that. Yeah.
a dirty, cheap shot like that, that is what saved your style of hockey from falling to the Russians by taking out one of their best players. That's crazy. That's insane. So Herb Brooks comes along and decides to try to create a hybrid of the two styles, which
Yeah.
sort of reinvented the way the modern game is played. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like,
Well, and the other thing I was going to say, to give some credit to the Soviets, not just for like, kind of being a little loosey goosey with the definition of a, amateur athlete. To give credit to them, and they bring this up in the movie. It's like at one point the Soviet team plays the NHL All Stars, and they absolutely destroy them. They just obliterate the NHL All
yeah,
Stars. So like, and that's a big part of it too. It's like Herb Brooks is like, no, I don't want just all the best players who are best individually. We need to be the best team. At one point, he says, early on in the movie, they're doing the tryouts, and Herb Brooks has decided who the roster is way earlier. They have a whole week of tryouts, and after
and
day
after
one, he's
one
like,
day, he's already got his guys.
these are the 26 guys. We'll whittle them down to 10 eventually, but these are the guys. And the assistant coach guy is like, what, we got a whole week here, man. Like, you don't have some of the best players on here. He's like, I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones.
What a
Right?
goddamn great line.
It's a great line. And the way he delivers it very nonchalantly, kind of without looking at him, like, because he's already busy doing other things. It's really, really good. It's a strong performance. But also, like, that's a big part of what the movie's about, is that, like, no, like, in order to beat them, we need to be the best team, not just the best, like, collection of individual players. Because the game we're going to play is, like, we don't have the talent to just try to, like, like dump and chase or anything like that, or just kind of, like, go coast to coast. That's one of the things he gives pretty harsh criticism on a guy in tryouts for trying to do. Just basically like take it all the way down the ice all by himself without passing it,
Yeah.
without moving, without,
Well, and that was
creating
that was the
opportunities.
predominant style in the NHL at the time. Like, if you
Yes.
wanted to get into the NHL, you had to be very good at doing that. And he rightly recognized, because he saw all the times that the Soviets dominated the Canadians, the Canadian All Stars and the NHL All Stars, that was just not going to work, right? I
Yeah.
mean, even before this game. Oh well, yeah, that was in the juniors. Never mind. I was gonna say like the Russians beat Gretzky, like they managed to
Yeah.
beat like his brand of hockey. So, but that wasn't before this one. That was in the World Juniors. Some of the younger players on the team had managed to pull that off. But yeah, no, like he rightly sees that like you can't do that to beat this team, and so he's picked his guys immediately. Now, the other thing that I really love about what this movie does with him is the psychological approach that he takes.
Yeah.
He tells them, as they're sitting there, wait, hearing their names read out, right? He's like, I'll be your coach. I'm not going to be your friend. If you need one of those, you take it up with these two. And the reason that he decided to do that, and they talk about this in one of the scenes later, is because hockey in America at this time was very very divided between the East Coast guys in Boston and the Midwest guys in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and most of the players on this team either came from Minnesota or
Awesome.
Boston.
Yeah.
And There was a lot of animosity between the two of them. This is forms part of the drama at the beginning, right? Jack
Yeah.
O'Callahan starts a fight in a practice with one of the Minnesota guys who he's holding an old grudge against for a cheap shot in a college game. Um, and he basically uses this as a way to be like, well, I mean, if they hate me, if they don't like me, maybe they won't hate each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They can be united in their hatred of me. And so they won't like just and also he lets them fight, which is also I must say I'm slowly becoming a bigger and bigger hockey fan because the more I watch it, the more I'm like hockey's the best actually. But one of the things I really love about hockey is that they just let them fight.
oh yeah,
I think that's one of the best things about the sport. I'm so glad that's still a thing they do and that they haven't like cucked and gotten rid of that as an approach. And obviously, like, within reason, right? But they'll let them fight for a bit to kind of get it out of their system. And then at some point, usually kind of at an arbitrary point, they go, all right, that's enough. They
yeah.
break them up. I love that. I think it's great. Honestly, I think the NBA was better when they, kind of let them go at it a bit more,
Yeah.
personally.
When they let him get a little rough, when they let him, well, I mean, when they let him play zone defense too, that was another one.
Oh, don't get me started. I fucking hate the NBA now. I hate it because basketball is my favorite sport, but I'm strictly a college guy at this point because the NBA fucking sucks. Anyway, um, don't want to get going on that tangent. But it makes for a great scene in this when the two guys he just lets them fight for a bit, and like blood's drawn and everything. It gets pretty aggressive, and he like lets them fight it out so they can like, all right, cool, you've settled that now,
Yeah.
right? Can we be a team?
I love his line with that too. Where he's just like, that look like hockey to you? Looks
Mhm.
more like a couple of monkeys trying to hump a football to me. I don't know. Like
Good.
he's
Yeah.
so funny and like I can like yeah he's so like witty and quick with it and like just like but smart about why he's letting
Yeah.
him do it, right? I really love the story for Herb in this like and it just like the strategy that he employs. Yeah, so he lets them
Yeah.
fight it out and he starts doing the introductions, right? And this is another nice thing about the script is he starts doing those nice introductions where he asks them, who do you play for? Who are you? Where are you
Where are you
from?
from? Who do
Who
you
do you
play
play
for?
for? And for a while, they're all kind of being like, they're like, oh, I play for you here at, the University of Minnesota, right? UMD,
Boston University. Yeah.
yeah,
All
University of Minnesota Duluth, right? The Golden Gophers, all of them, right?
that.
They say all that stuff, and then after a while, when they're in the they get through their practices and they go to Norway for one of their exhibition games and they tie the Norwegians, right? And he kind of
Mhm.
knows like you're going to come to Norway. First of all, Norway is a shockingly bad hockey country overall.
Yeah.
Like for
Well,
a Nordic country,
considering how much they dominated the Winter Olympics this year, they had the most total medals, they had the most gold medals, they killed it this year.
not even
Props to the
didn't even have a
Norwegians.
hockey team.
Yeah, didn't even have a hockey.
You don't even
Props
have
to
a
the
hockey team.
props to the Norwegians. They did great. They're literally the only team that did better than us, so we gotta give it up to them. Yeah, but they didn't even have a hockey team,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Historically they're shockingly bad.
Yeah.
But the they tie 3-3 because they're kind of distracted. They're looking up into the stands at all the cute Norwegian chicks and talking
As
about
you
like
do.
what they're gonna
As you
do.
do.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't? Am I right?
Who among us?
A red-blooded American male. But they're talking about all that, and so this is the famous again scene where he makes them skate what we call Herbies in the hockey world because of this, right?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they're
There's
suicides
suicides in most sports,
in
yeah.
most sports, but we call them Herbies. Um, and he makes them makes them do it over and over and over again. And in the movie version, he
After
does
the
it
game, yeah, for those
after the
who have
game
not seen
until
the movie
yeah,
and don't have the full context, they tied a team that they definitely will need to beat if they're going to compete against the better teams, including the Soviet Union. So after the game, in the middle of the rink in like another country, he just starts making them do suicides.
yeah, and yeah.
Again.
The
Again.
rink manager is trying to get him. Is like, I want to clean the ice and go home, and he's like, "Oh, tell him to leave me the key. I'll lock up." Like, he's just like, no, no, no. These guys are gonna fucking skate. They are gonna
I like
skate till they
to
piss
imagine
blood.
him. I like to imagine him driving the Zamboni, like it's just quiet and dark in there, and he like Herb is just riding on the Zamboni, just cleaning the ice.
Yeah, it's and
Did
so
they
he,
have those then?
yeah,
Okay,
oh
just
yeah,
making sure.
they had
Anyway,
Zambonis the whole time. Not the whole time, but like, yeah, the
yeah.
Zamboni,
Anyway,
yeah, whatever. The Zambonis are a great part of hockey culture as well.
yes, we know him. We love him.
But yeah, so he makes them skate the Herbies until they're basically like the lights are off. They're like vomiting from the effort, and he's about to make them go again until Micah Ruzioni, who gets made the captain, tells him, Micah Ruzioni from Boston, Massachusetts, and he's or wherever he's from. He goes, and who do you play for? He says, I play for the United States of America, and the ending is just like, that's all, gentlemen, and he just walks off the ice.
Yeah.
Like that's what
Oh,
I
it's
was aiming to
so
get.
good.
It's so
It's so
it's such a
good.
cold
Why
ass
is it so
move,
good,
dude.
Hugh?
It's because he united them, right? He got them together. He's
Yes.
like, no, we don't play
Yeah.
for Boston University. We don't play for University of Lowell, Mass. You play for the United States of America. He's trying to make them into a team, and that
Yes.
guy, Mike Eruzione, he's made
And
the
without
captain.
saying anything.
Yeah,
And
without saying
without
anything.
saying anything. So he, early on, he's like, oh, we're do icebreakers, no pun intended. Say who you are, who you play for, and everything like that. And they just keeps having them do that again and again, excuse me, throughout the movie. And then, like, finally, one guy gets it. And he's like, oh, I get it. And then he finally says, like, of his own accord, not prompted for it, not like it's not something he's trying to drill into their heads the whole time. He just wants it to happen not
Yes.
organically. He's like, he's subtly manipulating them in a lot of ways to try to like, to get them to the point where they, of their own accord, decide like, no, I don't play for Boston U, I play for Team America, right?
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's so good. There's a lot of things like that where he's trying to like incept ideas into him. And you know what I mean? He's trying to like it's more powerful if they have the idea, right? And so there's a point where well into the months and months of preparation for the games after he's already picked his like I think what 26 guys.
Yeah, he's got 26 guys. He needs to get it down to 20 for the official roster.
Yeah, and so he's gotten rid of a lot of people. They've been playing for months, they've been bonding, and they've been getting better, all that sort of stuff. And then he just brings in another guy, like
Yeah.
well into the game, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? That's not fair. Like he hasn't been here the whole time with us." And he's like, "What do you mean? He's great. He's a good player. Be a good member of the team."
And it's established at this point that Ruzioni, is struggling to score. Right, he's not putting the puck in the net. He might be like he's holding the stick a little too tight, like we say. He's a little overthinking it a little bit. So he's clearly trying to get through to him, but this kid is gelling with some of the lines, and they show that he's playing some of the exhibition and the prep games with them, and he's putting pucks in the net. He's scoring goals for him, and there's there's a point where three or four of them, call Herb off the bus after that game, and they basically tell him like, "Hey, this isn't fair, man. Like, he's not one of us. He hasn't been with us. We don't want this. We don't want you to be doing this." And he's like, "Well, I bet I see. I know how you feel about it, Rizzo." And it's like, "Hey, it wasn't his idea. Calm down, man. We want to do this." And again, organically of their like, because it feels like it's their own idea. One of them says, "No, it's because we're a family. We're a family, man. Like we've been through it. We've been through it together." And immediately, as soon as he gets that response, he's like, "All right, I'll send him home."
Hmm.
Because he
It's really
knows what
good.
it's. Yeah,
It's good. It's really, if anything, it's like the primary focus of the movie is like leadership, right? Like what makes a good coach, which is really interesting because obviously, the other guys they get screen time and everything like that, but the movie's about the coach,
yeah,
right? And the movie's about a guy who has this ambition and drive to do something great that literally no one else thinks is even possible. And he's got his vision of how that's going to happen. And like, there's a lot of people doubting him along the way. There's the tension with his wife over the fact that like he's doing a lot and he's not as involved at home with their two kids as he ought to be, but because he's so busy trying to do this thing that might not even work out. So there's some tension there. Not a lot. It's not like his whole family life is falling apart, but there's some obvious, stress and tension there. And then, he's got all these strategies to try and like subtly convince and push people without them realizing they're being pushed and not realizing how they're being pushed into coalescing as a team and as a united front, and that strategy giving them the best chance of success over the best team in the world. All that sort of stuff is absolutely excellent in this movie. My one big criticism of it is the stuff with all the guys is like fine, it's
Yeah.
okay. I wasn't especially wowed by their acting. A lot of the
Yeah,
guys on the
they're
team,
not. Yeah, they're not.
they're not great.
They're doing their best for
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They're okay, and the stuff with them, like there's scenes of them bonding and stuff like that, and just being guys, but it's a little generic. Doesn't have a ton of character to it. It's a little like, okay, this is. I mean, like like even like okay, there's a great moment where he says like we're a family, but like the way he says it comes across as kind of cheesy. You know what I mean? It's a great moment that could have been better with some better acting, I think. They're not bad, but and
yeah.
are they using stunt doubles for the hockey scenes, or are those guys that can play hockey?
I don't know that. I was thinking when I was watching it that this is one of those few hockey movies where I think they really did nail the skating. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looks really good
I
the
was really
way.
impressed with it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Um, but I don't know if these guys are, hired because they're, actors who can skate as opposed to like or if they're skaters who can kind of act, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? They might be the Disney on Ice guys for all I know from back in that wouldn't surprise me if they are, honestly.
Okay, so here's a little taste. I don't know if I can look. I don't know if I can, if it's I. I don't know if I can easily find out this information for all of them, but Eddie Cahill, who plays Jim Craig, the goalie, who probably gets some of the most focus of any of the guys,
Yes.
which is interesting, and it's for good reason. It works in the story. But he had never played the goaltender position prior to the movie. I think he had played hockey, but he had
Yeah.
not played a goalie before. So most of the game action sequences of Craig were filmed with former NHL goalie Bill Ranford
Oh shit.
doubling
Okay.
for him.
Well, that makes sense if you can do that because you can just put the mask on him.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But for the other guys, it's probably a bit more important that they let's just like okay, let's look up Jack O'Callahan, this guy. Uh Michael Mantenuto. Michael Mantenuto. Is he a hockey player? Let's find out. Feel free to keep talking while I look this
Yeah,
up.
well, I was gonna say like maybe one of the strongest performances from any of the guys is the moment that just popped up on in the trailer, when the other Mike from Minnesota gets a bad contusion on his leg, right? And they need him to finish the game, so Herb comes in and gives him a little bit of a it basically is like kind of a hard ass. He's a little bit of a taskmaster, cracks the whip a little bit, comes in and basically he says, I think the line is, "A bruise on the leg is a hell of a long way from the heart, you candy ass." And the guy gets up and starts. He's like, "What the fuck did you just say to me? You want me
Yeah.
to play? You want me to play on one leg?" And then he like comes in. He's like, "You think that'll get him going?" He's like, "Oh yeah." And then he comes out and he makes a great play because he knows that he can. He knows. I like that he checks. It shows us that he checks with the doctor to make sure he can push him without hurting him, right? Because
Yes.
like I think there are a few too many coaches who would take the wrong lesson from that
Yes.
as just like,
Certainly.
oh, like cause, and hockey players are pretty renowned for being tough, right? Like I think there was a Bruins player a while back during this run to the Stanley Cup who broke his femur, like it had a fracture in his femur, and he didn't leave the game until it was over, right? Like, and he played for like a solid 20 minutes on a broken leg, which
Yeah.
it's impressive. It's probably not. It's very impressive, but it's not smart, right?
No.
Like,
And that's the really interesting like needle he's trying to thread in this movie, and that's why so many people are kind of doubting him. Like the for the again the sequence,
yeah,
the the assistant coach is giving him this look like, God, dude, when are we going to like? And he's conflicted about it. He doesn't know whether he should keep blowing the whistle. Whether that is actually how it went down in real life,
it
I
is.
don't actually
It
know.
is. It is
Okay,
how it went down. The
well, that's
reason
brilliant.
now,
Well,
yeah,
it's brilliant that he makes him blow the whistle, right? Because it's also a test of him. It's also
yeah.
a test of the assistant coach. Like, are you on my side or not?
I think that the Jim Craig, the goalie, mentions that it may not have gone until Eruzione said the like I play for the United States. I think that one is like the Disneyfied moment. But
Sure.
I like he Jim Craig was saying that because Mark Johnson was one of the better players on this team, and I think he went on immediately after to go on a huge four-peat run for the Stanley Cup with the New York Islanders. But his dad was one of those types of coach. Mark Johnson's dad was a coach that was like one of those, you know, kind of more of like the player's friend kind of coach. And Jim Craig thinks that that skating thing was a way for him to show Mark Johnson that he wasn't being coached by his dad, because Jim Craig remembers that it ended when Mark Johnson broke his stick against the boards because he was so frustrated and tired. So it might have been more about about that.
Yeah.
But
But
either
I
way,
just mean like in terms of part of the reason everyone doubts him is because he's pushing them really hard, and there's a lot of like tension around like, are you pushing them too far? And there's a great moment with him and the assistant coach where he's like, you're pushing these guys really hard, they're tired, and he's like, one of the reasons. So earlier in the tryouts, he gives them like a long questionnaire, like basically like a personality test, like
yeah,
300 question thing, like how would you handle this situation type thing, and they're all like, what the fuck does this have to do with hockey? And then they later in the movie he's like, "Do you know why I gave them that test?" It's like, "So I know exactly how hard to push them."
yeah,
Like he picked these guys because he knew they could handle it. And to your point about coaches taking the wrong lesson from this, the movie is very deliberate to show him checking with the doctor to make sure he can play. Like if he keeps playing, can he injure himself further, or is it the kind of thing that like couldn't really get
yeah.
much
It's
worse?
like, can he hurt it any worse? And he says, well, no, but it'll be really painful for him. And he's like, okay, well then then I'm gonna get him in there. We don't have
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. And it's really interesting. He threads the needle. He walks that tightrope really well in the movie, and in real life as well. It's very interesting. So I did look up the guy who plays. Oh, what's his name?
real quick. Ephraim Winslow and Matthew Leach are discussing right now the Mighty Ducks in in required viewing in the '90s for Canadian kids. Um, the first of all, and then Matthew Leach says, I haven't seen that, not even the animated series by the same name. Would you recommend either? Okay, so first of all, the Mighty Ducks movie from the '90s absolutely required viewing for hockey fans. It's so good. It's it's just a fun little. It's like The Sandlot but for hockey. It's like The Sandlot but for hockey.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember really, really, really enjoying that movie as a
yeah,
kid.
it's a lot of
That was
fun.
one.
The animated series of the same name has nothing to do with the movie The Mighty Ducks, because The Mighty Ducks is about Gordon Bombay, a former NHL coach who's now coaching like a little league team basically, and he has like that. The Mighty Ducks animated TV show is about a bunch of alien ducks that come down to California and play like they're superheroes, intergalactic superheroes who go and play hockey in Disney World in their spare time. Like that's their secret identity, is that they are a
That's
hockey team. And but also you should watch it. It's fucking hilarious. It gave rise to one of the greatest logos in all of sports history, the logo of the professional team, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Because Disney again made the Mighty Ducks, the original movie, and they were kind of at a point where they were trying to like become like Disneyfy everything. So they bought an NHL franchise in the '90s, and just named it the Mighty Ducks as a tie-in to everything that they were doing with hockey.
That's incredible.
Yeah. They had a great, like one of the best jerseys and logos in the history of the NHL, as
I
far as
had
I'm
one of
concerned.
those, even though I wasn't like I was a Capitals fan when I was a kid, but I had one of their jerseys, the Mighty Ducks, because it was just so cool. You couldn't not, it's such a great logo. Also, I mean, I like the new Caps jerseys as well, but the old ones are really nostalgic for me. The
Yeah,
sort of
yeah. The Screaming
blue and
Eagle.
gold and black ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the Screaming Eagle and the Capitol building. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
love the
so
new
the
one that
thing,
they've done with where they took the eagle from the old jerseys and they put it in the red, white, and blue. It's yeah, it's so fucking sick, dude. I hope they make that the new jersey once Ovi retires.
So one of the things I was looking up because we earlier were talking about how many of these guys are actual hockey players or not. It appears that the goalie is not, but you can get a double for him because he's got the mask on the whole time. A lot of the other guys have to be hockey players because they have face masks, but they're clear and they only cover half the face. So like you can obviously tell. And so they need to be hockey players, and they are. So the guy who plays Jack O'Callahan, for example, Michael Mantenuto, played hockey growing up. His dad was his high school hockey coach, and he played one season of hockey each at two college teams, University of Maine and University of Massachusetts at Boston. So he's definitely a hockey player. So basically, I think what I feel safe in concluding now is that a lot of these guys were chosen because they can play hockey, which is great because that stuff looks and feels great.
Yeah, it's a good
Very good.
choice. It
Feels
all
very
looks
authentic.
really good.
And I think that is the right choice. The downside is that they're not the greatest actors. They're fine. They're okay. They're doing a perfectly adequate job. But like they clearly decided, the hockey's more important. The
Yeah.
hockey's more important than the acting because they don't have a ton to do, all things considered, So I that's the trade-off they made, and I think it was smart ultimately, but it would have been a more enjoyable movie if they were better actors. But I wouldn't trade that for how good the hockey stuff is, because the hockey scenes, like you've said, they feel incredibly realistic. I like the way they're shot too. They're kind of chaotic in a way that doesn't doesn't sacrifice legibility completely. It's there's a lot of long lenses and cameras whipping around and stuff like that, but I found it really satisfying. It was very frenetic in a good way.
Yeah, some of the editing in that scene where they're introducing the guys, right? Where like they'll go from a practice and then it'll swirl like, do a whip pan
Yes, the whip
around and
hands. Yeah.
land on one of the guys giving, who are you? Where are you from? Who do you play for? And then it goes back to doing some practice stuff. I mean, and the drills in practice are just so great the way that they shot them, like going through the line and getting body checked by four people before you have to, get out of it and come around, grab the puck, drop a pass, and like, get a shot off on the goalie. It feels so gritty and realistic when you watch it, and then oh God, when they get into the
The
games
hits
and everything, the
the
hits
hits
are
are big
so
in this
kinetic.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
They feel you feel them like vicariously. You're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." So all that stuff is incredibly satisfying and really enjoyable to watch. The games themselves are electric. They're great. They're very energetic and everything. I think overall there's maybe a bit too much not hockey in the movie just because it isn't as strong. Like for example, it's not just that overlong intro where they're like, "Remember the '70s?" There's another scene where like he's at dinner, he's reading some stat sheet or whatever, and he's thinking out loud about who he's gonna keep and who he's gonna put in what position. And his wife's like, "You got to look at the TV because
Because the Soviets have just invaded Afghanistan.
no, in this case it was
Oh no, it was
the
Iran. Oh God, you're
yeah,
right. I'm wait a
it was
minute.
the
Yeah.
Iranians
It was the
like
Iranian
taking those
embassy.
hostages. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that was a thing that happened, and yeah, but it's not really ultimately all that relevant
Yeah.
to the movie.
That
It's
because
like
like if it had been instead like, the Soviets have launched an invasion of Afghanistan, at least then it would,
that
be
showed up in like a newspaper on a table.
well, yeah, and that has relevance to the story because
Yes.
there's a moment where he is basically like freaking out because he thinks that if Carter's talking about boycotting the Moscow Olympics.
Yes.
And if we boycott the Moscow Olympics, then
They
they
might
may
not
not
come
come here
here.
and
Yeah.
play us, and then that would be, like, basically a colossal waste of all the time and effort, because he's putting this team together to beat the Soviets.
Yes. Yeah, it's like there's stuff like that that's just there to be like, oh, remember all those crazy events that were happening in this time period? And it's like, yeah, but we're spending a whole scene just him watching the sort of Iranian embassy stuff on the news, and it's like this is a bit of a waste of time, I'm afraid. This isn't really adding a whole lot. I want to see them do hockey stuff more because the hockey stuff is great. The hockey
Yes.
stuff is excellent. Um,
Yeah.
no, but there are some nice scenes that are not hockey that I think are really well executed, like when it's Christmas and they're all together and they gave each other presents and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
they gave the assistant coach a cheap little whistle thing that was pretty funny, and they're all shouting at him again to blow it again. And then Herb gets a whip, like a bull whip.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
The
And
gift that keeps on giving, he
yes.
says, which is
And
great.
then okay, but then it takes a little bit of turn into cringe for me because, while we're showing all the guys bonding and playing football out in the snow and doing cool guy bonding stuff, you love to see it. They're playing a not especially all that inspiring speech from Jimmy Carter about like, oh, America's lost its confidence and we gotta get our confidence back. And it's like, but Jimmy Carter, you suck. And you're and
Yeah.
your failings are a huge part of the reason people are losing confidence. Anyway, it's like it felt a little like I don't know. It's very boomer coded that stuff,
Yeah,
and I
that
understand.
one I didn't mind as much because it is like that. Like, if we were not doing the Iranian hostage crisis thing, right, and we were just
Mhm.
having that speech, it's kind of setting the tone for what this game is going to mean to that crowd who ends up showing up, because it is building, right? Like, we've already
Yeah,
done a lot of that,
it's
but
on theme.
it's more on theme than showing the Iranian hostage stuff on TV,
That's
you know?
true. I also just the way they equate a whole bunch of things, it was weird to me. It's like I was like, oh, America was just going through such a rough time. We had Vietnam, we had Watergate, and it's like, was Watergate really as big as Vietnam? I'm not so sure it was. But anyway, like this movie is surprisingly
Well, I mean,
obsessed with
okay,
Watergate.
to be fair, the way, like, history textbooks about that period are
Yes.
written, you could be forgiven for thinking Watergate was as big of a
Yeah.
deal as Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's not this Soul movies obsession for sure, but it was a little like, what does there's so much references to Watergate in this. And it's like I don't know that that's actually the big thing. They could have honed their focus on current events a bit more to be more deliberate and related to hockey and the Soviet Union and the Cold War and stuff like that, rather than just a general sort of like, man, the 70s sure were a wild time, huh?
yeah, boy, yeah, sure did suck being American in the 70s where we kept losing all the time, huh?
Uh, but it is a really solid underdog story, and I really like the general sort of like, no one expects us to win this at all. And so it's, even his wife is like, you should be proud you even got here, sort of thing. And then when he finally gives his speech before the game against the Soviets, it's a bit of like, in so many words, he's like, yeah, that's great, and we got here, but like, I think we can actually fucking beat them. Like I think we can actually do it. And I think just once we have the opportunity, then that we tonight we literally are the best hockey team in the world. None of this, oh, you did a good job for coming, this far. It's like, no, we're actually going to do it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, okay, one thing that I do wish the movie had focused on maybe just a little bit more, because I think this is a really interesting aspect that does not come into play in the movie, but it does in, like, all the other media that you can find about this, right? So 1 week before the Russians and the Americans meet in the Olympics, Herb sets up an exhibition game between the Americans and the Russians at Madison Square Garden. And at that game, the Russians fucking annihilate the United States. They win
Wait, that
10 to
happens in
3.
the movie.
Well, okay, it happens in the movie,
Okay,
but what they
you're okay.
don't do,
Continue.
what they
Sorry.
don't do is bring up like because they don't have a lot of there's a phone call where one of the guys is like, "Well, God, Herb, I don't know why you set this game up, but they've said they're gonna come. We're not gonna boycott. They're gonna do whatever." And then they get absolutely annihilated 10 to 3, right? One of the reasons, there's like two reasons that Herb in real life, like why he decided to do this. Number one was because like he didn't even like one of the things he said to them before the game, which he does not say in this one, is he goes, "Go out and have some fun." That's the first time
Oh,
he's
that's so good.
it's the first time
That's
he's
so
ever
good.
said that to them, and they're all
Yeah,
kind of confused. They're like, "What the fuck?" Because the reason that he set this up, number one, was so that
so
they
they wouldn't
wouldn't.
lose.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, so they would lose, but so that like he's like number one, the reason is because you won't be freaked out when you go and play them in the Olympics for the
Yes.
first time. Right now, you
You've
kind of
already
like
done it.
you've
Yep,
already
yep.
done it. You've done it once with an audience. Like you're not going to be as shaky. And number two, they're going to beat you so bad, they'll be overconfident when they come in to play you
Yes.
later. And
Oh, yes. I
yeah,
could that is such a great strategy. That should obviously have been in the movie.
yeah, they do not
Yeah,
include that in
obviously.
the movie, and they absolutely should have because it is
It's
like
so
yeah,
important.
it's so important for what happens because that's one of the things in that documentary, the one from the Soviet Union's perspective that they talk about. They're like we came into this thinking like yeah, this is the Americans. They're going to be nothing. It had only been a
Yes.
week, and we'd already beat the crap out of them. Like we
Mhm.
stayed up all night celebrating with the figure skaters who had won the gold medal because we were like, why do we even need? We don't even really need to prepare, right? Like
Yeah,
we're fine.
yeah.
And so then they come in, and the Americans are skating faster than them. They are a totally different team. They've been fired up by an actual speech, not just a hey, go out and have some fun. Like they've been fired
Yeah.
up by an actual
Oh, go
like
out and have some fun is diabolical. That's so funny. I love that. I cannot believe they didn't include that in the movie. That's so good. That's such a like, oh, you sneaky son of a bitch.
is
It's just like,
it's
I mean, because what it says is like, it's like, ah, you're not gonna win, but yeah, just try to have some fun with it.
yeah.
Oh, that's so good. And okay, and so that just makes me think, do you think we would have won the gold medal game last Sunday if we didn't lose to the Canadians in the what was it, the Four Nations? Is that what they called it? What do they call
Uh
that tournament that
yeah,
happened?
that was the Four Nations
Yeah,
face off. That was the first time that's happened that I can remember, honestly. So like that's yeah. Um I
because
don't know.
I think that would have had a huge effect on them
Yeah.
psychologically.
I
You
think
know what I
yeah,
mean?
that
Because
might have put well
it's a
they did
very
beat them
real sort of
once
phenomenon. What'd
in
you say?
they did beat them once in that Four Nations
But
tournament, but
they
they
lost
lost
the
the
big
big
one,
one in
right?
overtime, one goal game, so like I think that
I know it
yeah,
was close. I know these are like differences in extremity, but I think psychologically that was a huge boon to them in the gold medal game. It would not shock me at all if
yeah.
like having lost the big one was like a real like, oh fuck, we got something to prove too.
Yeah, no,
Um
that wouldn't surprise me at all either. I think
and
and I
in
think
the same sort of thing, it's generally similar with the Soviet Union. Like we play them and got absolutely shellacked, and it's like, all right, like you've done that now, you've lost, now you have something to prove. Like let's see it, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. And I think that like especially for this one, right? The Americans were facing somebody like the last time we streamed had asked me the question of what I thought about, them running back that exact team from the Four Nations. Basically, they brought I think pretty much all the same guys. They decided not to change it up too much. They were like, you know, basically we were one goal from winning and we almost had them, so we might as well go with this. But they left off a lot of really young, really talented forwards who are having great years this season. And when the coach, Mike Sullivan, was asked about why, he was like, it's not about who's playing well right now. It's about who we know plays well, overall. And the Canadians gave us so much shit for that. They were like, we are going to
Yeah.
destroy you. We are going to annihilate you. You brought Vinny Trocheck. You brought JT Miller. Oh, you think you're going to, like, we have the best players in the world. We're going to absolutely crush you. All the Canadian commentators were talking about how it was not even going to be close because Canada, even though they won last time, they decided to tweak the roster and bring the guys who were really, worth bringing. And we had just, oh, you're bringing a losing team. Um, and I
Not
do
about the
think,
best players, it's about the right players, you
yeah,
sons of
bitch,
bitches.
yeah, yeah, syrup eating Canucks, Herb Brooks, baby.
Oh, it's
But
so true.
yeah,
That's so important too. And that kind of lends a little bit of credence to my theory that like
yeah,
part of the reason they brought the same team back is to be like, no, we can beat them, and you gotta prove it now. That it's essentially or it's a lot of the same team to be like, this is a rematch. You know what I mean? Like I have confidence in our guys.
yeah. Yeah, and the more that you bring a team, this is another one that I think like this movie really hammers home, right? Like one of the reasons why all the all-star teams really didn't fare very well against the Soviet Union, and they talk about this a lot, right? Some of these Soviet guys have been playing together for 17 years. Like
Yeah,
this was essentially a professional team that
oiled
yeah,
machine,
well-oiled
battle
machine,
tested.
battle test. They knew each other like the back of their hands. They were best friends on and off the ice. They never spent like they were confined to military barracks together for 11 months out of the year. Right?
Yeah,
Like they did not
yeah.
spend any time except in each other's company. And if you bring a group of all-stars, some of whom are playing for like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and they hate each other because they're playing at the opposite ends of the state, right? Like
Hmm.
they're not gonna be able to gel in time to
Yeah.
get and take this team on. They know how each other plays, but they don't know how to play with each other, right?
Yes.
And so Herb has to take a young team of a bunch of college kids. Number one, he has to unify them, even though they have outstanding gripes and grudges with each other. And then he has to get them to basically like, form a familial bond together. And then he has to get them playing with each other enough that they can outskate, the best team that has the best amateur team in heavy air quotes that has ever been put, on the ice. Yeah,
Play them in a game so we can lose and get it out of our system. So
yeah,
we already know what losing to them is like. We already know how great they are, and it won't be,
yeah,
fresh and new for us and as intimidating because we've done it before. We've already lost to them. We've got that out of our system.
yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. All that sort of strategy stuff, all the, uh, that's the best stuff in the movie for sure, and the games themselves are just incredibly exciting. I thought it was really interesting how in the final game, now obviously this would have been based on how it actually played, but I did not remember how the actual game went, so that like halfway through the third period, we're up one and we just kind of have to maintain and hold on to it the whole time. That's a really interesting story for like this kind of sports drama movie because usually, especially if it's an underdog team, it's like, oh, they come from behind victory, right?
Yeah.
But this was a bit more. I mean, there was a come from behind for sure because we were down one, but we go up one and then we just have to hold on to it and kind of leaning into how stressful that is. You know,
Yeah.
I thought that was really compelling. Now, obviously, like I said, that's based on how it actually went, but they just did a really good job of making you feel that.
Yeah. And
And
so
I found
speaking,
that to be
sorry, go ahead.
I just found that to be a really interesting dynamic for like the final climactic battle.
Yeah, and when it lets you highlight one of another strategic element that he brought to the table with this, which was that he switched them over to playing short shifts
Hmm.
for this because he's like, okay, you're going to be on for 20, 15, 20 seconds, maybe even 30, but you're getting off right immediately. You're going to swap in and out because I need to make sure that when they start pressuring in those last couple minutes, you guys are fresh. You haven't
Yeah.
worked your way, you haven't completely winded yourself by the last 3 minutes, and you're not going to just get skated around and, dominated by this
Wasn't
team.
it like 30 to 40 seconds? Isn't that what he said? Like
Yeah,
that's how long they were on the ice
yeah,
before they.
yeah, something like that. It's not as short as 15. I think you're right, 30 to 40. But yeah, it's much shorter than a regular like a normal shift would be something like a minute 30. Maybe you maybe get up to 2 minutes. That's pretty
Mhm.
long, honestly. 2 minutes shifts are pretty long. But like 30 to 40 seconds is like just enough time to,
Yeah.
make a defensive play, get up the ice, maybe, dump it in and then get the change, right? Like you
Yeah.
got, you don't want to we're
Well,
not getting
you're doing
trapped.
sprints instead of, running a marathon at that point kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
we need you to to have that burst of energy and that burst of speed that's going to, make all the difference at the very end. And so we're going to, give you a breather every like 40 seconds kind of thing, just so you have that little extra push. Smart. It's very smart.
Yeah. Very great. I think the fact that they use the commentary track for the final game, right, is the commentary track from the
Yeah,
actual
with Al
game.
Michaels. Yeah.
Without It's so good,
It's
dude.
really good.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Like, it
You
makes
do a
me
good job.
realize how much like worse sports announcers are now, honestly,
Tell
than they
me
used
about
to
it,
be.
man.
Like they
Tell me
are
about it.
so bad. They are
We
so
got
bad
first of
comparatively.
all, we gotta stop just assuming that former players will make good announcers. You gotta do away with that assumption. That's one thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Less women, I would say. Less women. No more women. I'm just kidding. But
No,
no,
no more
it's gotten so
ladies in
much
the
worse
booth.
though. It's
Yeah.
gotten so much
Well,
worse.
the
Al Michaels
guy
was great. I
Ray
like him.
Ferraro, my dad pointed this out because he was listening to a couple of the Olympic games this year. The guy who's doing the calls for NBC now.
Mhm.
It used to be a guy named Doc Emmerich who was actually really good. He had a lot of people were annoyed by him. Some of his, like the familiarity with some of his terms. Like he used to say the puck careens in a lot, and that would always kind of make me at
Speak
least.
English,
Yeah, I'm just like,
man.
just say bounces in, dude. Like, come on. Like, what do you do? Careens in off of Lundqvist. Like, okay, just fuck. Like, just say bounces in, please.
Speak
Ricochets in.
American.
Yeah,
Um,
speak like an American. But he was pretty
Doctor,
good at like actually giving you a dynamic sense of what was happening on the ice. So
yeah.
like, if you looked away, to get up and go grab a snack or a beer, you didn't miss out on what was going on. My dad tried listening to the commentary track while he was driving for one of these games, and he was like, he's not even saying who has like what's happening.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's just
Well, I feel like the further we get away from radio, the worse that gets. That specific quality you want is just getting worse and worse. Because when people used to, I remember as a kid, coming out of a game or something, or like my dad would like listen to some game he was interested in on the radio and stuff like that, and like they were so much better at like clearly communicating what's happening in a really dynamic way, on the radio. And I feel like the further we get away from that being a thing anyone listens to or cares about, the worse the
yeah,
announcers get at doing that
absolutely.
because they know they don't have to fundamentally. Dr. Diddler says Al Michaels himself is worse. Yeah, and it's like at a certain point you do just gotta kind of retire and pass the torch. But who else do they have?
Yeah.
Like they don't have a lot of better announcers.
Yeah, the play-by-plays, like the Capitals play-by-play guy, Joe Beninati, is great, and the color commentary dude, who is the player, usually sits back and shuts the fuck up during the play. He
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
try to, just he adds stuff in after the whistle blows. That's why the Capitals have one of the best duos in the entire league, as far as I'm concerned, maybe the best, and they should. I'm glad they haven't been, but they should have been the choice to promote for the Olympic hockey for the calls, because Joe Beninati would have done an infinitely better job than Ray Ferraro. Unreal. But Al Michaels' commentary in this specific game is so good, and it helps really, like, for people who don't know what's what with hockey. It really helps orient you to what you're watching happen in the
Sure.
scenes, which is it's a really good choice, and it seems really obvious, but I
Yeah.
bet you they had a few back and forths over exactly how to do that in the final cut. Just like but
Yeah.
it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's really good. Really quick before we move on to anything else, Matthew Leach asks, where would you guys rank Kurt Russell's acting in this movie compared to his other performances?
Ooh. Well,
Overall, I mean, let's just talk about his performance in general first, and like that'll give us an idea. He's quite good in this movie. I don't know that he's like it's like a wow of a performance, but he's good. He's very compelling, and I think he definitely kind of dissolves into the character, and you kind of stop seeing Kurt Russell after a while. It's a very interesting choice for him, but he just has so many great performances that I don't know if this is near the top for me. Obviously, McCready in The Thing is very much up there.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite performances of his, but there's so many.
Well, and I mean we can't discount Monarch, the Apple TV series. What an
That's the
all-time.
thing
What
that
a, yeah,
millions of dollars went into, and
dude,
it came out.
did I tell
Did you
you I
know
was
that?
I was looking, yeah, did any of you know that? Did I tell you I was looking it up and each season of that show costs the same as making one of those movies?
Ugh, that's crazy. I mean, that's Apple TV is just dumping money into shows that no one is talking about. It's crazy. They must be doing really well with their phones and computers because they have so much money to burn on TV shows. It's crazy. I mean, like there's like what, like one or two that actually sort of drive the conversation. It's like Severance and unfortunately Ted Lasso was very popular, but in general, like they have so many things. If you look at their platform, it's just like who is watching this? Who? I demand to know. I know Monarch. It's apparently your parents. That's what you
Yeah,
discovered,
yeah,
right?
I discovered my parents and my brother, they watch that. They've been watching it. I didn't I had never even heard of it. But it's got Kurt and Wyatt Russell, which is
Yeah,
kind of wild because
and
like I mean
I like both of them a
yeah.
lot. I really do. I like Wyatt Russell. He's very underrated. Another absolutely excellent Kurt Russell performance is in Big Trouble in Little China as Jack
Ah,
Burton.
yes, very
One of my
much so.
favorite comedic performances ever.
I
He's
love
so
him in
funny in that
Escape from New
movie.
York. I think
Yeah, he's
he's yeah.
great in Escape from New York. He's great. It came out around the same time. Hugh, have you seen Overboard?
Yes, I have.
Oh, that movie's hilarious
I
and
love that
weird,
movie.
and
It's so bizarre, dude.
it's it's so bizarre, but he's fun in that.
Yeah.
Um, he's great in a lot of things. So in Miracle, he is really solid. He is serving the movie incredibly well, but he's much more restrained and reserved than he is in some of his other performances. In a way, he's doing less, which is serving the character and the story quite well. But he's very kind of, he doesn't. I don't know. He just. It's a really solid performance. I don't know if it's one of his best, in my opinion, just because he has so many better ones.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like as far as like personal feelings, I might have to put this up in top 3 just because like, like as a hockey
Yeah,
guy, this one
sure.
really gets to me. It's
Well,
like
okay, let's give him credit where it's due. Like the big speeches he gives are just top notch in this movie. He really sells it. You feel yourself getting fired up the way they're getting fired up. He's doing an excellent job.
yeah.
Excellent job.
Yeah. So that's my answer. It probably one of my
Yeah.
favorites. I don't know if it's like his best, like objectively
Sorry,
speaking.
someone said severance seems like coworker slop. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's a funny sentence. I like it.
I think I do, and I think I
Does
agree.
coworker slop? Because my first thought was like, because isn't it about coworkers? Is it? Do you mean coworker slop? Is in like, oh, it's what coworkers are talking about? Like, oh, have you seen
It's yeah,
Severance? It's
like
great.
literally every. I can tell you that right now from my last gig, every single person in the corporate world will ask you at one point, "Oh, have you seen Severance? You really should. It's exactly like working here."
Well, that's a problem. Are we
Yeah,
not trying to fix that?
all like yeah. So I know exactly what they mean by that, and I agree. I have never watched an episode because I'm just like, yeah,
I watched the first episode and I was not hooked. And then people say like, "Oh, you got to give it like 7 or 8 episodes," and I often struggle with that. As if someone recommends something that way, I'm always like, "Ugh,
yeah. Well,
that's
God,
a lot."
it
I
wasn't like
struggle. I struggle to even give TV shows a watch, to give them a shot, especially if it takes like quite a while for it to really get good. But also if it's like I have no guarantee that I'm like not going to invest years of my life into watching something that's just going to shit the bed at the end. I'm so sick of that, which is why any new show comes out that people say is actually really good, I just wait for it to
to
finish.
finish.
And
Yeah.
if I find out that it's still really good, I'll give it a shot. Severance is definitely one of those mystery box shows, so I'm like, all right, let me know if it sticks the landing, then I'll give it a shot.
I honestly like I feel vindicated with House of the Dragon because of this one.
Right. Yeah, yeah, you were saying
Because
that.
I have held that position, forever, that like I'm not gonna even start it until, because I don't care how many people tell me actually it was really good, it was like a return to form. I don't trust that I'm going to enjoy it all the way through until it's finished and like consistently been good. And it
I'm
seems like
assuming you're
that
the same way
collapsed.
about the new one, right?
Yeah, yeah. My brother did the same thing when I went to visit this weekend. He was like, "Actually, Night of Seven Kingdoms is pretty good," and I was like, "I bet it is for now." Like,
You know what? I bet it is. Let's
I
hope it
bet it
stays
is.
that way. We
Yeah.
want that, right? We want it to
If
stay
it's
good.
still good by the time it's over, get back to me on that, and then I'll watch it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not doing this again.
yeah. Um, where is it? Oh, I saw a message. I wanted to respond to it, but I can't find it anymore. Oh, Georges Rex says, "I thought Snake, as in Snake Plissken, was a little try hard." And it's like, isn't that the point of isn't that like how the movie's supposed to be though? It's like
Yeah,
really over the top with its like edgy protagonist, man. Isn't it? I think it's fun. I think how ridiculously like, I'm Snake Plissken. His name is Snake Plissken. I don't know. It feels so over the top to me that it doesn't feel like, oh, you were trying to be cool and failed. It's like you knew that this was like really like over the top and ridiculous and you're just kind of having fun with it, you know? So it works for me because that movie's insane, you know?
yeah. It's
It's
yeah,
like,
it's fucking crazy.
yeah,
Like, uh, yeah. So Miracle. Back to, so the final game, right? We were talking about Al Michaels' commentary. I think like the honestly, the final game of the portion of this movie is really where it shines the most, right? Is like all of the little elements
absolutely.
are right, yeah, like right there. The drama scales perfectly. It's one of the best examples of adapting a sporting event, like especially a famous one that everybody who watched this movie, like all the adults who watched this movie, they all know this event. They all watched it, right? So like you have to adapt that into a fictional narrative film, right? And you have to do it in a way that is more than just like basically playing the highlights, just play the highlight
Yeah.
clip, and you have to really get right in to the nitty-gritty. And I think this does it perfectly, right? Like we see the drama of, Tretiak, the goalie, letting in the shot at the last second, right, with no time left on the buzzer, basically. Because God, the way he describes it in the documentary is so fucking crazy, man. He's just like, I was looking up, it's one of the only times he's like, I never do this. I don't know why I did it this time, right? But I looked up at the shot clock, to see how much time was left, and so did my defenseman. They both looked up to look. And the next thing I know, this guy comes in, they took a long slap shot. It was easy for me. So, and I was like, there's no time for a rebound. So I'm going to deflect it right up, right up the center. And I look up at the shot clock, but both my defensemen did it too. And the next thing I know, here comes Mark Johnson, and he splits the D and he comes in anyway, and he just fakes me out. And that was the last shot he played in the game.
Mhm.
And
I
like
feel bad for that guy. I really
oh,
do.
dude, when I was like, damn, man, like like what happened at the, like, they go to the locker room, and the rest of the team is told not to go in. It's just the goalie. He goes in first, and then the coaches and the federation officials, which means the fucking KGB, walk in after them, and he comes in and goes, "You're done. You're out. You're not playing anymore." And then they let them all come in, and Tikhonov, the coach, says, "All right, Tretiak's not in anymore. He let in a bad goal. He's not playing." And the documentary crew asks every single one of them, is like, Mikhailov is like, as the captain, did you decide like maybe to stand up and say, "Hey, Victor, maybe that's not such a good idea." And he goes, "I saw by the look on his face that that would have been a terrible idea."
Yeah. No shit, it would have been a terrible
Yeah.
idea. Absolutely. Also, I think that's a terrible idea in general.
Yeah. Oh, every
I don't
single
know.
one of the Russians that they interview, it's like that was the biggest mistake. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand why he did it.
Yeah, you would think that would have lit a fire under him,
Yeah.
right? If anything, if you're thinking about if you're what Tretiak, whatever his name is, like you would think you let him sit on that. Like that was a bad goal and you know it, and then you just sit on it and sit on it, and it's like, and then you put him back in. That's I don't know, it seems like such a dumb move. But to your point about how they managed to adapt something that almost everyone watching at the time, at least all the adults, would have remembered pretty vividly. One of the things that you can really do in this, and which sort of really works with the movie's overall theme of mostly being about the coach, is you can be with the bench in the game. Which
Yes.
obviously, if you're a fan in the audience or you're watching it on TV, you don't really get that perspective. So we spend a lot of time in that final game, on Herb and on the players and what he's telling them, like as he's about to send them on the ice and stuff like that, what he's yelling to them, all the stuff you can't get from the game, which is just a really smart move. It's really
Yeah.
smart.
Really good.
And it's really useful just in terms of like technically for the editor to like be able to cut around the hockey itself by cutting to, you know what I mean? You can it's easier to navigate the action of the hockey game, which is very chaotic in terms of like film language. If you can cut to that, and there's like the stability of the bench, and then you can jump back to the ice, and time has passed, and you're somewhere else. It's just very useful.
Yeah.
And I like the way they shot it a lot. There's a lot of shooting on really, really long lenses in this movie, which makes everything feel like everything's very tight around the actors. There's not a lot of headroom. We're in close-ups for a lot of the movie, frankly. And that also helps with like when we do whip pans and stuff like that. It really exaggerates the blurring of the background and everything. And and because the cameras are on such tight lenses, when we're following the action around the hockey, it like moves very fast, and the camera's kind of like struggling to keep it in frame in a way that makes it feel very energetic and like it isn't scripted. Because when the camera feels like it's kind of struggling to catch up with it, it feels less like this is something that we heavily, heavily choreographed.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. Quantum Ranger Power also points out here is like that was sure, but that wasn't his decision. It was the decision of whatever political crony was in charge of the team. You get the sense that no, actually, it was Tikhonov's decision because he was so we talked a little bit about Tarasov, the Russian coach who reinvented the way that hockey was played and kind of put this team together. The reason he's not the coach by this time comes around is that he had been asked by, or not even asked, told by the government to arrange a tie in an international tournament to improve relations with the Czechoslovakians. Like he was like
Okay.
they've already won a bunch of games. He comes and is told, you should tie the Czechs because we need to make relations better. So you're gonna tie them. You're gonna arrange a tie at the next tournament, and like you just won't win, right? You'll share the medal, right? And he basically said, no, I'm not gonna do it. And so they fired him immediately. They fired him and put Tikhonov in charge. And Tikhonov, he kept winning, but he had a very different style than Tarasov was more of a Herb Brooks type, a little friendlier with his players than Herb Brooks, but he was very much like, we're gonna work. You should be happy. You were born to be hockey players. We're gonna make this, a beautiful game and all that. Tikhonov comes in and he's like got a stopwatch, and he's like, you better make sure you do this many reps in this many seconds. You better make sure you score in this amount of time, or like he came in with this very accountant mentality and took over the team. And you can kind of get the sense through the history that because he was with the team for long after this, he was still coaching. He coached Ovechkin. He was still coaching into the in after the collapse of the Soviet Union. But you got the sense that he was really kind of the guy who like the political cronies above him just kind of trusted that he was going to do whatever was right, and
Yeah.
they were all on board with him. So actually what ended up happening after he lost this game, he gets to keep his job as a coach, and they give him free reign to just start getting rid of all the old veterans who had made this team what it was. They basically let him fire anybody he
That's
wants.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
it
really
was
interesting
definitely
though.
him. It was definitely
Yeah.
him in charge and who made that decision.
But he probably also just kind of had a very similar attitude to the political cronies who might have,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, is just like a very, very strict drill sergeant sort of approach. It's kind of interesting, like you described those two Russian coaches, that Herb is something of a blend of the two.
yeah, but yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because he when he's doing the drills, it's like you will do the drills in this amount of time and that sort of thing. But also he's like really, really obsessed with that sort of Russian style of play that's all about like movement and keeping, you know, keeping your eye on like not the puck and players, but like openings in the ice. And so you're constantly weaving around each other, and it's like a dance. It's kind of a balletic sort of thing. It's interesting that original coach, he kind of like approached it like it was like it ought to be beautiful, right?
yeah,
Like it ought to be elegant and um I don't know, like precise and all that sort of stuff. That's really
yeah.
interesting.
Like a ballet, right? Like on
Very
ice,
aesthetically
yeah,
oriented, you know. It's really interesting.
yeah,
Kind of like how you would imagine the Japanese would play hockey,
yeah.
you
If
know.
they cared enough about hockey, I mean, they do that with
Yeah.
figure skating. They're very like
Yeah.
that's why their figure skaters were,
Really,
number
they were
two and
really
three.
good.
Yeah,
I watched quite a bit of figure skating this Winter Olympics. First of all, here's my quick rant on figure skating. All right, so when they're doing the solo stuff, like the women when they're doing all the the flowy, graceful stuff with their hands, and it's all beautiful and graceful and stuff. It's balletic. It's nice. It's cool. The solo men's stuff is impressive because especially like the Ilya Milan, whatever his name is.
Milanin.
Um,
Yeah, from Vienna,
yeah,
Virginia, right up the road from me.
yeah,
Practiced
and
practiced with a friend of mine actually.
I mean, he kind of he whiffed it in the big moment, but it's all right. He'll be back. He's young. He's doing like quad axles and stuff like that. They're incredibly impressive physically,
Yeah,
but so much of solo male figure skating is just unbelievably gay. Like it's so fruity. I can hardly stand it. Like it's really impressive. The jumps and the spins, that's all like cool. But everything in between just makes me
yeah,
cringe.
yeah.
But then I watch like the paired figure skating, and has like that is way more heterosexual
Yes.
because the men are mostly like just being there to be like the person who picks up the woman and spins her and tosses her
Well,
and
and
all
the
that
one
sort
who,
of
like,
stuff.
yeah, and the one who like is the foundation. While she's like, there were so many of the figure skaters this year who like they would pick the woman up, and then she would just stand on his legs as he
Yeah, that's
mohawked
crazy.
around the rink. And I
Yeah,
was like, dude, I wish I could even just do the mohawk thing, let alone with a beautiful woman like that standing on top of me on
yeah.
skates. Like, what the fuck,
Oh, it's
dude?
incredibly impressive and cool. And like some of those performances, I
When
think
all of the
they're-
paired figure skaters, they're like all married. They're
Yeah, a lot of them are, and so like, but you can feel the chemistry. It's really interesting. I really liked the paired figure skating a lot. I thought that like a couple of those performances were honestly like really beautiful, and I was like, damn, this is great. I like this. This is great. I think Japan did really, really well in that. They might have
oh
won
yeah,
the gold. I think I saw that performance. Yeah, it was incredible and very heterosexual, which you wouldn't think
Blades
figure
of
skating
Glory
could
next
be,
week.
but it is. I remember liking Blades of Glory a lot.
Twin dongs.
We're gonna skate to one song and one song only. No one knows what it means. It gets the people going.
It's provocative.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Speed skating.
The
Speed skating was also
the
really fun.
professional female
Yes.
Dutch speed skaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Speed
Jake
skating's
Paul's
fun. I
fiance. What was her
I
name?
like the
Like,
Winter Olympics a lot. I
or
like the
they.
Olympics in general a lot. I just think they're a
Oh, do they all have
blast to watch.
the Dutch ones all have the funniest names too? Like one of them's
Dutch is
name.
probably the funniest
It's
language. I
maybe
think it's
maybe the funniest language on the planet. I
for an
think one of
English
them's like
speaker.
what
For an
Femka
English speaker's
cock.
ears.
Like, and these announcers have to like say that name without bursting in like a million times. Here comes Femka Cock around the corner. Femka Cock is starting to attack.
We have ein serious problem. Uh, you've seen that, right? Please
Yes,
tell me you've seen
I've
that.
seen.
Okay,
Yes, I have.
good.
Ah, what a yeah.
It's a beautiful language. Anyway, the Olympics, they were a lot of fun this year. I really enjoyed it. If you didn't watch it, you're missing out. It's good
Oh yeah.
stuff, especially that gold medal hockey game, baby. Oh, it was so
Yeah,
fucking good.
USA.
It was
USA.
so good, dude. Oh man,
Ah,
and the
like
Canadians
the fact
coping
that
on
like,
Twitter.
mm, well, I mean,
It's
yeah,
just
I can't even
it's
imagine. So like,
beautiful.
I mean,
Oh, it was so embarrassing for them. What they could have said was nothing, and it would have been so much better. But they couldn't help themselves. It was great. It
yeah,
was incredible.
ah, dude, yeah. I watched so every now and then I keep up with hockey influencers like Steve Dangle, who is on YouTube. He's very obnoxious, so it's hard for me to watch him regularly. But on the big ones, I do like to jump in there, especially when Toronto loses games. He tends to get very Charlie Kelly animated about it.
Yeah,
Gets
yeah.
very like angry and high pitched, and it's fun. It's fun to watch him crash out. He did not do a crash out really for this one. He was kind of just sad and honestly,
Poor guy.
poor guy, poor little lad.
Uh,
The only crash out that he did was when somebody in his chat was like, "Oh, elbows up, huh?" And he got really mad. He was like, "That was about defending our sovereignty." Like, oh
uh,
boy.
it was so satisfying. It was great. It was a great game too. Very entertaining.
Ephraim Winslow in here says nothing makes me cringe harder than current year Canadians pretending to have a national identity and or pride. Well, let's talk about that briefly because I think the real thing, the real victory for us here at this Olympics not only was beating Canada at the one thing they have left, like literally the one thing they have left, but it was doing so while also being belligerently and unabashedly American about it. Like
Yes, absolutely.
that's
And but first of all, it's worth saying because some of the cope from the Canadians was to like, "Ugh, you guys just can't win with class." And it's like, I know you would have been so belligerent too if you won, and you would have been right to. I wouldn't have given you shit for being so belligerent
yep.
about beating us because it'd be like, "Hey, you know what? You earned it." But we're belligerent when we beat you, and you're like, no class." It's like this
I
weird,
cannot.
like
Yeah. The way that
repulsive.
they get when they like, especially because like I'm a big NHL fan. I watch a lot of NHL games. I always turn the Stanley Cup playoffs on every year, right? No matter who's in it, but always, especially like the year after the last time we lost gold to the Canadians in overtime, which was 2010. They could not go 5 minutes on a hockey game without somehow mentioning the Canadian victory over the United States. And they did that for years. They would
Yeah.
just be like, "Oh, the last time, look at this, the golden goal, huh? Canada wins again." It's like, fuck you guys.
Like, all right.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I mean, yeah, talk
Thanks.
your
Yeah,
shit.
talk your
Go
shit.
for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
But I was so stressed for this one because it would have been unbearable for the next 4 years. Like, especially after everything that had happened, like
Oh
that
yeah. It would
between
have
us
been rough,
would have been
you know.
unbearable.
Yeah.
Ah,
But we didn't let it happen. We didn't let it
yeah.
happen. Dude, that I think it is one of my favorite pictures of anything all time. It's the photo of him draped in the flag with his teeth knocked out, with like a bloody smile. That's just one of the greatest images of all time. I love it so
Oh yeah.
much. And,
I'm gonna pull that
you
up.
know,
Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
yeah, put that on
I'm
screen.
pulling
Why
that
don't
shit up,
you?
Jamie.
It's so good, man. And as Trump said in their phone call, he's like, "And your goalie, he played not bad." And it's like the understatement of the century.
Yeah,
Unreal, dude.
I've seen a lot worse games from a goalie.
Oh, it's great. So good.
All right, here we go. Get Jack Hughes up here.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't remember which one it was. That's why I didn't try. I knew it was one of the Hughes brothers. Yeah, it was great. It
Two
was really
pairs of
great.
brothers, four brothers out there on the ice.
It's just called Four
Just called
Brothers.
Four Brothers. That's our team. See it on the screen beneath our name. But we have that. We have Connor
There's
Hellebuyck.
another interesting,
Uh,
interesting sort of parallel between the two games is that I found interesting because, like I said, I did not remember how the Miracle on Ice game went. Lot of saves by the goalie. The goalie
oh yeah,
was,
Jim
you
Craig
know,
stood on his head at the end of the game. Like he was being shelled.
yeah, Do you actually know how many? Because I know it was like 41 saves or something
For
by
Hellebuck,
Helichuk.
yeah.
Hellebuck, right? Yeah. Who do you know how many it was for the Miracle game?
I
Because
don't, but I'm
it
gonna
felt
look
like
it
a
up.
lot. It felt like a lot. And similarly, like, it's like they're the more talented team,
Holy shit.
but we got that dog in us, and we had an amazing goalie that carried us through. How many was it?
So especially during this period, this is incredibly impressive. He made 36 saves on
Wow,
39 shots.
that's great.
And like this is starting to get to, so nowadays NHL goalies or just professional goalies generally use like the butterfly system of
Yes.
play where they'll drop down to their knees and get like they'll get kind of low. They won't stay standing. And I think Jim Craig also in that podcast I was mentioning earlier talks about at times he's like my coaches used to tell me if a shot was coming high to my shoulder, they'd be like, "Get out of the way, dude," because like we didn't have good pads up there. Like you could break your collarbone and like end your career if a
Yeah.
shot like that hit you up there, right? So you were told to sort of stand up. You didn't get down and try to cover it with your chest. Nowadays they don't do that. So like they get in front of pucks a lot more often, and they make a lot more saves and a lot more like high danger saves like this. So like 36 on 39 for this time is unreal. It is so good. And then he's doing it all with the shamrocks on his mask too. Like iconic. Fucking
Yeah.
iconic. He's actually one of the reasons the goalie, oh, what was it, the goalie for the Bruins that inspired him to put Jim Craig to put the Shamrocks on. Can't remember what his name was, but Gary Cheeser or something like that. Anytime a puck hit him in the face on that one of those masks, he would put stitches where the puck, like paint stitches where the puck
Fun.
hit him. So by the end of
Yeah.
his career, it was just covered in stitches, right? But that's the reason why goalies decorate their masks now too. Is like he
Yeah.
was one of the first to do it, and Jim Craig was like followed in his footsteps. Because
Oh, I think when I was a kid, this was very exciting for me.
you think an Ole
Yeah,
Kolzig,
with Godzilla on his
hell
mask. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
dude,
that for me, that was the coolest thing I had ever seen.
crossover of the century.
As a child, I was like, "That's the greatest thing that's ever happened." Uh,
Yeah, man, I
yeah,
remember like I went to
I think
see.
I met him. There's a picture somewhere in my dad's basement. Probably there's a picture of me with Holy the goalie.
Yeah, I have an autographed Ole the goalie jersey in my in my
Pretty
parents'
sweet.
house. Yeah,
Pretty sweet.
and
Yeah, he had
like,
Godzilla on his
oh
mask,
god, they used
and
to like when he made a big save too. I remember going to a Stanley Cup, like it was a playoff game in the '98 run when he was just like unbelievable. He was like the main reason why the Caps made it. And I don't remember who won the game. I think it was against Ottawa. It was before they made it to the final. But I don't remember if they won, but all I do remember that he made a huge save and they had like a graphic of Godzilla stomping Ottawa into dust on the thing and like
yeah,
breathing fire. And I was like, this is the coolest shit. Like that's the moment that cemented that I was going to be a hockey fan forever.
yeah, yeah, man,
Yeah, it was
it's great.
awesome. Yeah. At the ending call of this game, right? Okay, so like the 10 minutes have ticked down. Another great thing, right, is like the U.S. team is preparing for the Russians to pull the goalie, right? And he doesn't do it. He has no idea what to do when playing from behind because he's never really like never done it before. He doesn't realize what the strategy is for pulling the goalie, and they just
Really,
don't think about it.
really quick. I was watching this with my girlfriend and her parents, and when they pulled the goalie, my girlfriend goes like, "Oh, shit," like, I think it was her mom who was like, "Oh my gosh, they can do that." It's like, yeah, they could do
Yeah.
that. It's like, why would they do that? It's like it's a risk, but then you get an extra player on offense. And it's just crazy. Hockey's great. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
exciting. Continue. You were saying.
It gets very exciting, especially in like one goal games in the playoffs when they pull that
Oh
shit.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking awesome. But yeah, so the Russians don't know to do that to get the extra skater, which is a huge boon again for the Americans because they're just like, what? Why isn't he doing it? What's going on? And they never did. They don't pull him. They don't pull him at all in this game, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like to think that you're so used to constantly dominating that you don't even understand like the basic strategy of pulling the goalie to get one extra skater when you're behind, right? That you don't even know to do that. Um, un Unbelievable that he didn't. But the time's ticking down. They're playing decent defense, but like the Russians are just swarming. They're still getting the shots off, but the call for this game, as the whole stadium starts counting the seconds down, right?
Oh
And
yeah, man.
Al, like that, you could hear the countdown going, and Al Michaels right at the end says, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes, and it's over. And like, oh my God, the music in the movie, like really insistent. Doesn't matter. It's so like you would feel it either
By the
way
end, yeah.
by the
By the
end.
end, it's really cooking.
Yeah,
But
but like if when you watch the highlights of the game, it's like it'll send chills down. It'll send give you chills just
Do You
watching it
Believe
like
in
as you
Miracles is an all timer.
all time great, maybe one of the best ever. Actually, probably the best ever.
It's up there.
It's so fucking good. It's like just the whole stadium lights up, goes fucking crazy. The music's hitting the right like the soaring notes.
It's so worth saying that, like, for a movie that you obviously, for a game that you'll know the outcome of because it's the only reason they made a movie about it. Like every time they score a goal, I'm like tempted to jump out of my seat. You know what I mean? Because it's so captivating in that way. It's just really, it's not as invigorating as the real game, but it's
It's
pretty
pretty
damn close.
invigorating. It's pretty close.
Yeah,
I get hyped up when I watch this. Like when I see the hits, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
the checks. Like there are times like because they clearly did some good work recreating those, and every time I see them, I'm like, ooh, like I do with a real game, right? When
Yeah.
I watch the body checks, I mean, I like the goals. People who've never seen it cheer for the goals. Like I like
Yeah.
immediately after the gold medal game this year, I turned it on because my girlfriend and her mom had never seen the movie, and my girlfriend's mom was cheering for the goals as they happened. Right?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
nails it.
It
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 absolutely
really
nails
nails
it.
it. Like it's hard to overstate just how important that is for any sports movie. That part feels as compelling as it possibly can, like as close as it can approximate how compelling the game itself is, and like that's difficult to do. It's really difficult to do because you have so much working against you. And the fact that this is all obviously scripted and sometimes you already know what the outcome of the game is going to be if it's based on a real sporting event and all that sort of stuff. And like a movie is going to struggle if you're not really good at your job as editors, as cinematographers, all that sort of stuff. It's going to struggle to feel as stressful as the real thing does, right? It's so hard to make up for that gap. But this movie does a really good job with that. It's just from how it's shot, from how it's edited, and everything like that. It's just very, very, very strong when it really matters.
Yeah,
And so I'm very willing to overlook some okay to mediocre acting and some scenes that don't really feel like they need to be there, and for scenes that really take their sweet time. It's like we can move things on a little quicker, guys. I don't know, and for music in the first half that is trying very hard to tell you how to feel, it's like okay, I get it. Come on, guys. But when it matters most, it really sticks the landing.
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, absolutely, fucking fantastic. Also, real quick,
Papa Pumpkin
oh, you
says
go ahead.
The Miracle is the best Disney sports movie. I've always been quite fond of Remember the Titans, but Miracle is pretty fucking hype.
Yeah,
I've not seen Remember the Titans in a long time though.
it's been a while for me too, but I do like that movie also. Yeah.
That's the only other like Disney sports drama that immediately comes to mind. I'm sure there are more.
Yeah, I don't know the aesthetic of hockey at this time too just has this like really nice nostalgic like even for somebody who wasn't there, the way the pads and the gloves and the sticks look and everything like
Uniforms and
that,
all the
the
design and stuff.
uniforms and
Yeah.
everything. Like it just feels really it just feels nostalgic and just like comfortable, and cool to see it.
Yeah.
There's classic. It just feels classic, and I kind like
Hmm.
I'm. That's another thing that I was really happy with the U.S. team this year. They went back instead of doing the sort of like mid 2000s sleek and modern thing that they did for their uniforms before. They went back to this old school classic, closer to the 1980s look. and it really hit, when they get out on the ice
No,
in
I
those
was.
white
If you
uniforms.
weren't gonna say that just now, I was about to as well
Yeah.
because their uniforms were really evocative of like a retro feel without feeling like they're just wearing vintage jerseys. It was nice. It was really cool.
Yeah. I love the pants here with the stars on the side too, like that they wore. It's the uniform design was peak. It was peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was gonna say, so Ephraim Winslow was saying that cross country skiing is the most insane of all the winter sports. You put on the skis and decide you want to go up the mountain instead of down. Um, I would add that the one where you do that and then every now and then you stop to shoot some targets with a rifle that you've been carrying on your back for the whole time is even better.
That's pretty great.
I
I
love
that
that.
one feels the most like they just took like what if mountain warfare was just an event at the Olympics?
That the Nordic countries are so good at that because it's more of a threat to the Russians than a sport.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting. When I was in Colorado a year or two ago for skiing, I there was one day where like I only had a ski pass for 2 days. We were there for three kind of thing, and there was like a Vale Museum or something like that, something like that, where the people who founded these ski resorts in Colorado, um, like were brought in during World War II because they were such like talented skiers to help the U.S.
Was it
How
like
did they phrase it?
compete with the
No, it was like figure out how to equip because they had some innovations in equipment that they shared with the United States so that like some of the US soldiers that were like going over the Alps into enemy territory could be like equipped
Oh,
with their
cool.
like cutting edge equipment and skiing techniques, which is really interesting. And they went on to found those ski resorts out west. It was pretty cool. Um, yeah, and so it was really interesting because I had never watched that event where they ski cross country and then like they ski and they're like their hearts beating out of their chest and then they have to sit very still and try to aim a gun.
Yeah.
Is that I don't remember exactly how it worked, but it was something like every miss like added a minute to your overall
Yeah.
time or
Yeah, it's
something like
something like
that.
that. Yeah.
That's insane. That's really high stakes.
Yeah.
That's
It's
yeah,
so cool,
you know?
dude. I've always wanted to try it too. Like it
Yeah.
just feels so like
Oh
I
God.
imagine
It
you feel like old school James Bond when you're doing it and you're like
yeah.
actually nailing shots and everything. Like James Bond when it was still like, a snooty European thing.
Yeah.
When it was about like being kind of, oh, what's the like classist a little bit,
Yeah.
when you could do that. That I want to try it so bad. It's like the only form of skiing I'm super interested in trying.
Dude, yeah, cross country skiing just seems exhausting
Yeah.
to me. Like that's what I would actually legitimately like to try now is curling. That feels like
Oh,
more my
fuck yeah.
speed. Have you ever
Curling.
been
I've
curling?
done curling once, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all there's actually one in Laurel. There's a curling rink in Laurel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
right
it
next to the
seems like a
hockey rink I
good
used to
time.
play
It
at.
seems like, winter bowling in a good way.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. It is basically winter bowling. Like the rink has sofas, like big leather sofas that you chill on
Yeah.
in between your sets, in between your shots. The people they like you just eat chicken wings and drink pitchers of beer. It's a
Yeah,
great time.
that's great. I like that the Olympics kind of run the gamut of sport. There's like the biathlon as they were calling it. Yeah. And then there's curling. Just like could not be more different in ethos. But yeah, I like the wood. What the Winter Olympics are great. There's a lot of
Yeah.
great sports, and but the Summer Olympics, I don't know. I think I like them less these days.
Usually I do too, but yeah, I mean, I might be more interested this year when, or this next upcoming
Can't
year
believe they're
when
not doing breakdancing anymore. What's up with that?
didn't Australia add that? Isn't that like one of those ones that Australia just
Well,
decided to throw
well,
in?
the
Because like
the,
we
the
get
woman
every
ever.
host country gets to put in a couple of sports that they
Oh, I
want.
didn't know that.
So like
You know,
we're putting baseball back in,
oh, that's fun.
which is why I'm like one of the reasons why I'm actually excited. Is like, oh, okay, we can just like It'll be us and Japan in the gold medal match, and we can
There'll
have a
be
good time.
some Caribbean countries that'll do pretty well.
Yeah,
Could we,
Cuba might do
like
okay.
Dominican Republic, and I think there's a lot of players in the MLB from those countries. Anyway, but we'll do very well, obviously. But I think it was. Did Australia actually add the break dancing only to have their Australian break dancer who was just like essentially a performance artist completely tank breakdancing as a sport at the Olympics? Because that was hilarious. That was incredible.
I don't know if they actually did or not, but it like I'm going to choose to believe it because
Yeah,
it's
that's just
fucking
it's a better
hysterical.
story that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Miracle. Do you have anything else you want to say about Miracle?
I
We
think we've
covered
said
a
pretty
lot of
much
the
everything.
basics.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good looking movie too. It's good lighting and it's
Yeah.
well shot and everything like that. Um,
Monopolize Me said, beat those commie bastards, and I have a feeling that that's the exact same text message that every member of the men's team got this year too. So,
yes, yes,
yeah, 46 years
yeah.
to the day, we beat another commie country wearing red.
It's a bit more. There's something more interesting about it. The gold medal game in that like they play with some of these guys in the NHL. Like some of those guys are on their teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of interesting.
Yeah, two of the Canadian guys are on the Caps, so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, USA #1, baby.
USA.
Miracle.
USA.
USA hockey, American excellence, manifest destiny, all that sort of fun stuff.
We share their spirit. Manifest destiny. Hell yeah. Alberta is ours by right. You should take your right, Albertans, in the chat. Come and
No,
join.
yeah, they should.
Come and join the real. Come and join the party.
No, they don't even need to join us. They don't even join us. They can be their own independent country, and we'll just strike a really favorable trade deal with them, and it'll be great. They can be independent. They don't need to
They
join our club.
they don't need
We're
to.
good friends. They can be better friends than
All I'm
Canada is.
saying
How about
is
that?
the Oilers will probably win the cup if you join us this time around. I'm just saying. They've tried twice in a row and lost to Matthew Tkachuk. That's another great storyline from this one. Is that Connor McDavid, maybe the best player in the world at the moment, second only to Nathan McKinnon, if he is second to anybody, who was also on Team Canada this year. Both lost again to Matthew Tkachuk in the big one.
You love to see it.
You loved it. Just a gritty, grindy gooner of a player.
We gotta come up with a new word for that. It's a shame what happened to the word goon. Goon used to be like, the sort of muscle, the sort of idiot muscle of mob guys in cartoons. And now look at it. Now look what's
Now
happened.
look how they've massacred my boy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. That's Miracle.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Go watch it. Go watch it right now. It's great.
Go maybe watch the highlights or the whole game. It seems like it would be a fun time. I might watch that at some point.
Yeah, I would watch the whole game if I were you. It's fucking sick. It's a really good time.
Yeah. It's a good time to be American. A lot of wins coming in. Don't forget to celebrate them. It's the year of the patriot. God bless you and God bless America. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for whatever that is. We don't know yet. Maybe we'll go back to Disney. Maybe we'll do something else.
Yeah, maybe
Who knows?
We'll
Stay tuned.
dip our toes into another of Vin Diesel's cinematic endeavors.
Ooh.
Who could say?
Who could
Not
say?
me.
Not me.
Bye.
Not me. We haven't decided yet.
USA.